And hello, welcome back to the 5-Year Career Podcast. If this is your first time, welcome. And if it's your second, or maybe today is episode, maybe it's your 72nd time. That's right. Welcome to episode number 72, the 5-Year Career Podcast, the show where we teach you how to build a real estate business that creates freedom, income, and a legacy in just 5 short years. Yep, mathematically proven. And as you follow through with our process and the things that we talk about, you too can have that. So each week we bring you the tools, the strategies, and real world examples to help you, number one, generate leads, grow your business, and secure financial independence through our favorite topic, real estate. My name is Eric Wilner. I'm the host of the Real Estate Show, also the Automatic Landlord. I wrote a book by that title and a course by that title, and it's all about why real estate is a great investment tool. We're going to talk about that a lot today. I'm also joined by my two good friends and partners in crime. First of all, on one side of me is Patrick Butler, Mr. Go Vertical, gentleman who has taught thousands of agents across the country, coached many,
Million.
run millions of people, millions of people,
Some are
and
still alive.
and done this on a corporate level. So he brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. And we have another wealth of knowledge and experience also. To my other side is Mr. Skip Wiley, the fanatical marketer, a serial entrepreneur, founder of a billion-dollar mortgage company, also ran franchises for real estate, but just an all-around good guy, good dancer, good golfer, and also an excellent real estate professional. So say hi, you guys.
Good
Hi, you
morning.
guys.
See, you got to love people who are coachable, right? They follow instructions right to the thing.
Always.
And I'll tell you that if you follow the instructions that we're talking about, they're not complicated. Many of them are not revolutionary or new, but they are perfected. And what we want to do is help you to, and for it to help you to help your clients. And today we're going to focus on whether it's better to buy new construction or whether it's to buy resales, right? Existing properties. And this is an interesting conversation, and there's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer to this question, but we're going to give you some pros and cons all about this and how it works. So we'll look at appreciation. What's the difference? We'll look at incentives, which one offers those, the cost of ownership overall. And then, of course, imagine always buying your next house, thinking of how it would be also as a rental potential. And then we're going to talk about, as I've been talking about on my radio show all week long, all about the importance of analyzing deals, right? Run real ROI examples so you'll know the numbers. P.S. When you're good with the numbers, your clients will look at you in a whole new light as a much more professional real estate agent. So before we begin, let's think about this, and let's go back to the basics. Imagine the perfect real estate business. And whether you want to rock it solo or whether you want to start a real estate team, imagine having a business that creates a steady flow of quality, consistent, exclusive to you leads, and allows you to create a business that in 5 short years pays you abundantly and for the rest of your life. Now, that sounds like too good to be true, but it is. And I hope you'll stay with us as we unfold this concept. Also, I want you to remind you that you can also find us on YouTube on demand at your leisure. Go to youtube.com/5-year career, all spelled out. That's at 5-year career, all spelled out. After all, isn't that what we all want? Isn't that what this career is really all about? And today we're going to cover all of this and possibly more. You never know what direction that we're going to go. That being said, let's talk about the theme of new construction versus older homes, or I should say resale homes. And they don't have to necessarily have to be very many years old, but the bottom line is there's always that, conversation, new construction, custom built versus the home that already exists that you can always customize. We're going to talk about incentives. What are the pros and the cons, and what is the return on your investment? And when I say your, I'm talking about your clients, right? So you got to take care of that. So here's one of the things, that we'll say consistently, no matter what we talk about, right, guys, is consistency. Consistency is the key to a successful real estate career, no matter what you do. And one of the things that you need to do consistently is to be analyzing properties for yourself, for your clients. And every time that you're getting ready to go show properties, you should do a little bit of a basic analysis, because that's the conversation that's going to carry you through the process. This also builds muscles. The faster and the more often that you're analyzing deals, the more professional you will seem to be. The faster you're going to spot deals and negotiate them from strength. So if you want to see this process live, join our free webinars. You see, we have webinars going on as we speak all the time, several times a month. You're welcome to come join us. Be a guest in the audience. No pressure, no involvement. But we have free webinars about first-time home buyers, investor webinars, new construction webinars. We walk through real deals. We answer questions until they're all answered, and we show you how to win in this market. And P.S., little secret, you will be able to see exactly how our system works and why we're able to fill the seats, put ready, willing, and able buyers in front of you. And like I said, consistent, exclusive leads along the way. You can register right now. Go to 5yearcareer.com. That's 5yearcareer.com and register for our next workshop. So let me turn over and bring in some of our panel. I want to talk a little bit about value and appreciation in today's market. Patrick, what do you think?
I feel I'm undervalued and underappreciated, if that's where we're going.
Don't we all?
But okay, so interestingly, before I jump into this, I literally am in the midst of buying new construction. In fact, Monday and Tuesday, today's Friday, Monday and Tuesday of this week, I was in beautiful Panama City Beach, Florida, aka Water Sound, at Latitude Margaritaville, where I'm buying a home. Now, I was telling Skip this a year ago when we went under contract, not quite a year ago. When you went to the new sales development, the big sign out front said homes from the 300s. And Skip aptly put they should have put homes far from the 300s. But nevertheless, when we went there on Monday, the same billboard now says homes from the 500s. Now, that was a very warm, fuzzy feeling for my wife and I as we drove up, saying, allegedly, we've made $200,000 in equity and we haven't even closed on the home yet. So that's exciting. So new construction does bring some really unique opportunities to the table. And what we're going to talk about in this little segment is buying ready-built new construction. And there's a reason for that, spec homes, if you will. But there's nothing wrong as an investor, aside from the first-time home buyers and end users, but for an investor to consider buying new construction and waiting for that property to get built, because that builds appreciation before the first brick is even laid down. And that's a great opportunity for your exit strategy once you do close on the home. But interesting, when we consider new construction, oftentimes it's not an option for an investor. New construction homes often come at a premium, higher prices because of high-end finishes, because of things that the builders are charging up for as a buyer of the home. But today it's very different. And we're in kind of a perfect storm as the real estate market in 2025, and as of this live airing in the month of August 2025, real estate values have begun to soften nationwide. Buyers are still sitting on the fence because they believe interest rates are too high. And so builders are now in a situation where they need to provide oomph. They need to provide incentives for people to buy these homes. this is a perfect time to talk to your investors. A great topic to talk to your investors about in terms of getting them off the fence and consider buying new construction. So why are the builder incentives at an all-time high? Well, this inventory must move. Those dollars that are tied up, that frozen equity in those properties, the builders need to extract to continue building more homes. Today is a great time to take advantage of those, and there are loads of inventory available in some of the most prime markets across the country. Skip and myself, we are up in North Florida. We see tons of opportunities across the entire top of the state, from Pensacola all the way through to St. Augustine and Jacksonville. To keep projects on schedule and maintain cash flow, these builders are offering, in many cases, temporary or permanent buy downs in mortgage interest rates. Skip has a builder up in his neck of the woods for homeowners, 3.9% financing, and in the low 5% for investors. Those are great rates. I mean, you just can't get money.
Amazing.
And it's tremendous for the investors' ROI. The builders will also cover closing costs. Folks, that's a big chunk of change right there. You might be talking about 5 figures of savings that you're getting just for that. Free upgrades, top of the line appliances and finishes that you normally wouldn't get buying as cheap as you can as a bargain basement investor. Now you've got top end finishes, and keeping resale in mind when it comes back down the road. And in some cases, some of the builders are even offering rent back guarantees. Back in the 2008 and 9s, lease backs were huge. Model home sale, purchase, and lease back, where an investor could buy the home with all the furniture, by the way, completely decked out, and the builder would rent it back from them to continue using as a model home. Brilliant concept, great deal, excellent ROI. So those are some things to be looking for. Also, home warranties. New construction comes with a 1-year warranty on just about every single thing that's in the home, along with 10-year warranties for structural items as well. So between workmanship, you have to worry about chip paint or dings or other things that may not have been found during your walkthrough, to major items such as the structure. Very huge. What does this mean for the investor that you're working with? Less unanticipated expenses. Mr. Landlord up here, automatic landlord, Mr. Investor will tell you, you've got to factor in as an investor the depreciation of the mechanical plant there in the home, the AC, the roof, you name it. Those all go down south very quickly on older homes, right? If the home is 10 to 20 years, it may need a new roof next week if it passes the 4-point inspection at all. So new construction brings a lot of wonderful attributes there to the table. Let's talk a little bit about financing perks. Again, we talked about low interest rates. Well, these builders also have great relationships with lenders. And if they don't, we've got a couple lenders right here on this podcast that you can talk to, and we would encourage you to do that as well. But great incentives that you may not find out on the street. And last, tenant demand. Because buyers are sitting on the fence, people are renting now as much as they always have been and willing to pay premiums because rent prices are going through the roof. Well, what a great marriage you have as an investor to get ROI on the money that you're borrowing in addition to the money that you've put down on the property. So last but not least, this opportunity, folks, is short-lived. By the time you're watching this podcast, it may have been past you, but it will come again because real estate runs in cycles. So when everybody is saying, oh, boo-hoo, the market's bad, that means the market's good if you're an investor. When everybody says the market's hot, you may not want to buy at that time as an investor. Might be time to sell. So there's a huge opportunity right now, and we encourage you, as Eric said, to join us on our next webinar. Doesn't matter when it is. If you go to 5yearcareer.com, you will be able to schedule some time with us. You can also register for an upcoming webinar, kick the tires, see how it works. But I will tell you, folks, as a real estate professional, part of the 5-year career is developing abundant leads. Imagine getting 30 to 50 leads every single month from one marketing event that you don't even have to pay for. That is an amazing opportunity. So back to you in the studio, Eric.
I told you this guy is full of information. He is an absolute wealth of knowledge, and that's why he's part of this team. I will tell you that, in real life, for example, the incentives that you were talking about. I was at a networking event this past Thursday, and I was talking to a seasoned mortgage broker that was there. And we were talking about builders and new construction. And he goes, like, basically, if the client is in new construction, it's almost impossible to compete with the builders with the amount of money that they're throwing into incentives. And it kind of reminds me, I often talk about how real estate is one of the most antiquated businesses when it comes to technology. It's only since the pandemic do we have virtual showings and virtual signings and all the things that, electronic and digital documents that existed in other things. So we're in a new world today, and it's very important. And I wouldn't always look at the fact that the builders are throwing a lot of incentives to move properties fast. Think about years ago, automobile, right? They do everything they can to move those. It's called floor planning, right? They don't want to finance and hold the costs of keeping a lot of cars in inventory. Think about Dell several years ago when they went to just-in-time production, right? You practically custom order your computers. And probably we're not going to be that far. One of these days we're going to be 3D printing homes, and homes will be built as needed when needed, and a lot faster. Maybe there'll be less fluctuation of supply and demand. But take advantage. Today there is a problem with supply, right? Even though rates have gone up, the supply is growing, but still far below. Right today, I think we have an affordability issue much more than we have an inventory issue. So over to you, Skip. Let's talk about some of these incentives and some of the financing specifics.
Patrick did an excellent job of describing the benefit of considering buying a new home. Why do people not want to buy a new home? Well, the classic reason why people choose not to buy a new home is they want a developed community. They like the big trees and the older homes in a particular part of town. But if you really look at it from a very financial standpoint, today we're talking about investors, and I think Patrick covered every one of the reasons, but let's compare it. Look, an investor can buy a 10 to 20-year home in Pensacola, or they can buy a new construction home. So why would they even consider buying new construction over that 10 to 20-year home? And I'm going to give you a few key reasons. Patrick mentioned one in particular, and that is warranties. When you buy, if you're an investor and you buy that 10 to 20-year home, I can promise you're going to have upgrades. You're going to have issues with some of the components that are in that property, and you're going to have a lot less expenses if you buy new construction because you'll have lower maintenance costs. And that warranty in that first year for a real estate investor really protects you for the unexpected expenses that you may have when you buy that 10 to 20-year home. The second thing is typically because it's new, you're going to get a higher rent versus buying that 10 to 20-year home. I can tell you this, being an investor for many years, where I bought a house. It was a 10 to 20-year-old home, and next door to me, somebody moved in and put 14 vehicles in that front yard of that next door home, and it dramatically reduced my ability to rent it at the maximum price because of circumstances that I didn't create. So when someone buys that new construction property as an investor, the whole neighborhood is pretty consistent, at least for the first couple of years, and you're going to be able to get a higher rental return because of the stability of the neighborhood. And another thing that for an investor that is significant, and Patrick's going to cover it in just a minute, and that's lower insurance benefits. Today, the house that I own in Pensacola, I bought it for around $500,000. Well, the insurance on that house is about $4,500. The house is about 12 years old. But if I bought that same $500,000 house, new construction, that insurance would be cut in half simply because of the improvements in construction, living up to the current codes, and insurance companies realizing that newer homes have less claims. So that's another good example. But from the standpoint of resales, if you buy a resale over a new construction, you're definitely going to have more repairs, higher insurance, and your cash flow is probably not going to be as significant because a lot of people today, especially the younger buyer, likes that fresh new look of new construction. Buying new construction and you're considering buying a 10 to 20-year-old home versus a home that is brand new. Well, first and foremost, the brand new home, we talked about all the significant benefits of that brand new home: higher rents, lower maintenance, easier to rent because it is brand new, a stable new community. But let's look at it financially. If you take a $330,000 property and you put down 20%, that leaves you with a mortgage amount of $264,000. Today, there is a select, and if you call us, we'll tell you who it is, but there is a select lender out there that is offering a rate of 5.75% for investment real estate. Try to find that rate anywhere else in the planet, and you will not find it. It's not there. You're going to pay 7% or more for investment real estate. We're going to assume that taxes on both of these properties are the same because they're the same sales price, but the insurance on the new property is $1,100 versus the insurance on the existing property, the 10 to 20-year-old property, is going to be dramatically higher, about $2,500. On that new construction property, there is no closing costs for the investor. On the property that you buy that's 10 to 20 years old, you're going to have to find somebody in desperate situation to get them to pay all of your closing costs. And the disadvantage on that property that is 10 to 20 years old is the rate is not 5.75, it's a rate of 7%. And typically you're going to pay an origination fee of 1.5% to 2% to get that investment rate. So the financial difference is really the bottom line, as I refer to it, is the total monthly payment on new construction is $1,844, and the payment on the 10 to 20-year-old house is $2,174. That's a $330 monthly savings and lower upfront costs. I didn't calculate the ROI, but I'm pretty good at figuring out that if I'm an investor, I'm going to like to buy that new home over that $330,000 10-year-old property, simply for one reason, and the main reason why investors buy anything, and that's return on cash and it's return on investment. So that is why, in my opinion, and I'm going to give you three other thoughts about this concept of buying new construction. I've been in the business 40 years. There's only been 2 times in my life I would recommend to an investor to buy new construction. Back in 2006, when property values were blowing up every single month, they were going up. There were buyers in the marketplace that would buy today, sell it a year later for a 10 or a 15% gain in appreciation. That is gone. That is not the case today. Today, we're talking about real return on investment, real return on cash. And just to add one more point, I know this is an investment call, but if you happen to be a buyer, there has never been a better time in 40 years for you to buy new construction because of the dramatic incentives that builders, they're paying today $30,000 to $40,000 per home with commissions to real estate agents and closing cost credits and interest rate buy downs. They're paying $30,000 for you to buy a house. And here's the key: you can get a grant for a down payment to buy a property with 3.5% down. So Eric, back to you.
Great job, Skip. Thank you. And there's a lot of different factors, obviously, that factor into a buyer's decision to buy. You know, some people have lifestyle needs that new construction can't adapt to. But it's very important to understand the options, and particularly now, as both Skip and Patrick were saying, we're in a special market right now where new construction happens to be the favorite child. And generally speaking, people like new versus old. If they were the same price, but here's an opportunity in the marketplace where they're not only are they not the same price, but new construction has a lot of advantages right now. So that's what we covered. New construction usually is at a premium, but right now it's selling at a bargain pricing, bargain terms, great mortgages. Both types of real estate have appreciation potential, but oftentimes the houses around new construction don't appreciate until the new construction is complete and that inventory has been assimilated into the marketplace. So just understand that thing when you're buying properties in and around new construction. They kind of are at the mercy of new construction. So the real secret to all of this, right back to the beginning of our program, we talked about analyzing 3 to 5 deals a day. Okay. That's what a good professional real estate person would do. Let the numbers guide your decision. It would tell you where to be in the marketplace right now. And again, check out our workshops. This is also going to keep you in the know in the marketplace. Go to 5yearcareer.com, register, and be at one of those free workshops. Thank you for joining us today in episode number 72 of the 5-Year Career Podcast. We hope you learned something valuable, and more importantly, we hope that you'll take what you learned valuable and apply it. Don't forget, also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember, at 5-Year Career on YouTube. Rate it, criticize it, leave us a review. Your feedback means the world, good, bad, and ugly. This is what helps us to grow, and it else helps us to bring more quality information to you. We encourage you to stay tuned for more exciting content on our upcoming episode, already in the works, in the planning. We hope that you'll follow us on YouTube. And remember, don't just listen, use the information, build your own 5-year career. Yes, it is absolutely possible. We can show you in a color by the numbers fashion. Again, visit our YouTube, visit our website, and join our next workshop. That's the secret. Any parting words from you, gentlemen?
Yeah, I have one quick statement. Over the next 4 months, we have a game plan to teach you how to close 6 new construction transactions. And if you want to know more about how to do that, simply go to our website, 5yearcareer.com, book a 30-minute coaching call with any one of us. We'll give you the game plan, the roadmap, the tools that you need to be able to create a successful real estate career.
Amen.
Yep. And not only that, during that conversation, we'll talk about a done for you program for all of you people that shy away from the technology, who shy away from being in the public eye on video. We have a solution for all of that with our done for you program. There's only 3 ways to do this business, right? Do it yourself. Good luck. That's a low learning curve. There's the done with you, get a coach, get a mentor, work with somebody who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. That increases your learning curve much, much faster. And then, of course, ultimately, there's the done for you program, which we can talk about more. On that note, Patrick, you look like you had one more thing to say.
Nope, that's it. I think this was a productive meeting as always, and we appreciate everybody's time.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.